Whoa! Glad I dodged those FTC and COPPA rulings on YouTube. Gotta be honest, those seem pretty dangerous. Oh! Where did those new terms of service come from?
vidIQ.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.com.
Hello, I'm Rob and welcome back to vidIQ, the YouTube tool and channel that educates you on your YouTube journey. If you want to keep up to date with all of the latest YouTube tips, tricks, advice and news, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. As always folks, school is in session. As you might have guessed, the theme of this video is a 1-2 punch YouTuber hitting us all with as we slide into 2020. The FTC ruling on COPPA violations by YouTube and the effects it will have on your channel, we've already started to cover them and there is a playlist link on screen now if you want to know more. Now, when it comes to the FTC and COPPA and you making sure that your content is clearly labelled as made for kids or not, YouTube has little control over this because they have to comply with the law. However, when it comes to YouTube's own rules, such as community guidelines and terms of service, they have complete control and they're changing the terms of service, which is causing a lot of video creators to absolutely lose their minds again. And here are the terms of service, a lengthy beast that no one ever reads and it's so long my video editor can't handle the size of it and has pixelated all of the words. But if you read for long enough, you'll come across this section that reads as follows. Terminations by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or parts of the service if YouTube believes in its sole discretion that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. Now, when you read that passage in isolation, as a video creator, instinctively, how do you interpret those words? I think there is only one natural conclusion that everybody comes to. If my videos can't generate money for YouTube, potentially YouTube could cut me off the service. And to be fair, given everything else that's going on right now, that is a reasonable assumption. And this sounds like a double whammy for kids content channels because the FTC and COPPA rulings mean that kids channels can't use targeted ads, which means that they're going to generate a lot less income for both themselves and YouTube. So if those channels are a lot less commercially viable, why is YouTube going to support those kids' channels? The problem is, it's total baloney. You know, I think saying baloney in an English accent just doesn't have the same impact. Here's how a lot of the community is reacting on Twitter. Assuming that because their channel is small or their earnings are low or non-existent, YouTube may terminate their channel come December the 10th when these new terms of service come into play. And here's Team YouTube's consistent response to all of these queries. To clarify, the commercially viable section is not about terminating accounts because it's not making money. It's about discontinuing certain features or parts of the service because they are outdated or have low usage. This does not impact creators or viewers in new ways. So thanks for clarifying that, YouTube, on Twitter. Would have been nice if he'd just done that in the terms of service to begin with and it wouldn't have all scared the absolute bejesus out of us. And some will argue, quite rightly, that the communication between different departments on YouTube doesn't always marry up, so conspiracy theorists out there believing that YouTube could still terminate your account because you're not earning enough money for the company. Believe it if you want, and if I'm proven wrong, you can troll me in the comments. Although we probably won't have access to them anyway because of COPPA and the FTC. Just to be clear, YouTube, this video and indeed this channel is not made for kids. Anyone under the age of 13 should not be watching this video. Oh, and just so we're clear on this, folks, that is not a disclaimer and you can't use text or anything in your videos to tell the audience that it's not aimed for under 13s. That's not going to wash with the FTC, so don't try and do that. Just make sure to label your videos for kids or not. I'm sorry, we're going off topic here. Where were we? Terms of service. Given YouTube's explanation on Twitter, this is how I interpret that particular term of service. Remember YouTube annotations? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Well, this 10-year-old YouTube video was designed with annotations in mind, but YouTube got rid of them a couple of years ago, which is why this chap is reacting to something that no longer exists.
Because, aha! Oh! No, I don't do that!
Now, I seem to remember that YouTube said they removed annotations because they couldn't be used on mobile devices and info cards and end screens did a more adequate job. outdated pieces of software on a platform, not commercially viable, removed from the YouTube service, removed from video creators. The offshoot of this is that video, which had 60,000 views, was probably doing okay. It could have got more if annotations were still used on YouTube, and so that's where you as creators might lose out. Now, annotations in themselves never generated revenue for you or YouTube, but thinking 5 or 10 years down the line, what about super chats? They're a big thing right now, and a lot of channels earn a lot of income from super chats, but in the future it might not be commercially viable for YouTube to continue to support this feature. So what if they remove it? Well, if that term of service wasn't there, you might be able to legitimately argue to YouTube, hey, this is worth 80% of my income on YouTube and you've just taken that away from me without any ruling on why you should do that. Well, that's why that term of service potentially is there. As I say, this is my interpretation, and I think it's a fairly solid one, but you're welcome to discuss this in the comments below. So to summarise that particular part of the new terms of service, it's not about your channel not being commercially viable for YouTube. It's the tools and services that YouTube provide to you not being commercially viable anymore. Generally speaking, it wouldn't make sense for YouTube to terminate channels that don't create revenue for the platform, because many channels create goodwill for the platform. I know I've used this as an example recently, but I'm going to use it again because it is a perfect example of people uniting on YouTube for the greater good, and that is team trees. I sincerely hope that the majority of video creators making content about team trees are not trying to jump on a trend to earn a bit of AdSense revenue. They are joining a cause to raise $20 million to plant 20 million trees, a fundraiser. This is about earning money to do something serious and good in the world. And YouTube is a platform that allows us to do that. And YouTube themselves have even pledged money towards that fundraiser. So, strictly speaking, that's not commercially viable because they're losing money from it. I know this is getting a little bit wishy-washy, and you could argue that supporting fundraisers is commercially viable because it puts YouTube on an even higher stage and gets some more publicity, but we're just being a little bit cynical when we get towards those points of view. Also, generally think about the channels and videos that never monetize their content, either because they don't want to or they don't have the chance, but they contribute to the YouTube ecosystem. Those videos are suggesting other videos that maybe have advertisements on them, and YouTube say that the ad revenue stream and the search and discovery algorithm are not connected, so it doesn't matter whether or not you monetize your content. If your videos are being watched, they are valuable to YouTube. So again, whether or not they make money for the company strictly directly, do you want to get rid of them off the platform? And if YouTube decide that they do want to remove all of these channels that are never going to make a dime for the company, then YouTube, I think at this point, has lost its soul. Another way of thinking about this is that YouTube could remove those features that they don't consider commercially viable to provide for free. For example, live streaming or the community tab or YouTube stories, and instead creators pay a premium, say of $5 a month, to use these tools so that YouTube is guaranteed to earn income from them, and it makes them more commercially viable. Again, right now I'm spitballing and none of this is likely to ever happen, but I'm trying to interpret this term of service in a way that doesn't make you think that YouTube is going to get rid of your channel because you don't make any money for YouTube. And think of it in this way, strictly speaking, as a channel, vidIQ is one of the worst offenders on YouTube for not being commercially viable, because we have over 400,000 subscribers. This year we've got 20 million views, and yet we've not earned a single dime for YouTube or ourselves through ad revenue because we've chosen not to monetize our content. We want to make an impact with the people watching our content, the audience. We want them to be educated and inspired to make their own content on YouTube. We are complete advocates of the platform, and it just so happens that we have a tool that you can download to help grow your channel, and it's available off of YouTube. So yeah, does YouTube really want to get rid of us as a channel? I would sincerely hope not. I would like to think that our channel and the tools that we provide have assisted millions of video creators to create countless number of videos that have generated billions of views for YouTube. And if that's somewhere close to the legacy that we leave on YouTube before we're not commercially viable, you know what? I think we'll take that. Now, having said all of that about one particular part of a new terms of service on YouTube, there are a few other parts that raise a quizzical eyebrow. YouTube may suspend or terminate your access, your Google account, or your Google account's access to all or part of a service if A, you materially or repeatedly breach this agreement, B, we are required to do so to comply with a legal requirement or a court order, or C, we reasonably believe there has been conduct that creates liability or harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. So folks, for a clearer understanding of the terms of service, forget that one aspect of being commercially viable for YouTube. If you break any of the rules on YouTube through their terms of service, they can take you off the platform, or if YouTube feels that you harm the service, the users, or anyone involved in YouTube, they can do exactly the same thing. And I think the basic principle of all of this comes down to one simple sentence in the entirety of the terms of service. Content is the responsibility of a person or entity that provides it to the service. YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve content. Remember this, YouTube is rent-a-ground that you get for free. It allows you to broadcast your video content to a global audience with an internet connection and a camera. YouTube covers all of the costs. They give you back some of the money when you are collaboratively able to earn it, but they are both gatekeeper and keymaster. And if they want to change the locks, they are welcome to do so. Now it's up to us whether or not we want to continue to use the service. Remember, we are not obligated to put our content onto YouTube. We can take it to Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So there is a fine balance there, and YouTube are really struggling to try and find that balance that works for both them and us. But that's where we stand. Are you in with YouTube, or are you going to take these terms of services, which seem scary, but are likely not to affect the majority of video creators? Again, let us know in the comments below. Now, I will leave links to everything I've talked about in the video description. These are some more videos about the related topics, and of course, I promise you some outtakes, so here they are. I'm smiling, sorry. Whoa! Glad I dodged those FTC COPPA rulings on YouTube. My channel really could have got in trouble.